What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Crunch Time here on a Saturday evening. I am Britt Devine, joined by the normal weekend crew. We've got TJ and we've got Tim from a place far, far away. Having a couple microphone issues. Sorry for being a few minutes late. I think Tim's quality shouldn't really interfere with the show. We were trying to fix it. But like Dean, we are not the most technical people in the world. Correct, Tim?
That is correct. Yeah. So I apologize if I don't sound the best. But yeah, I think it'll be good enough for the show.
All right. And TJ, what's going on with you?
Oh, busy day. Lots of producing, lots of writing, lots of UFC stuff, but ready to break down the MLB slate this evening. Kind of tired, so looking forward to just having a nice, relaxing evening after that.
All right. And let's get the likes going. I know there's Spidey bombs. I've got a long shot home run play if you want it. The people, they know, TJ, to start smashing the like button. We're over halfway to 50. What's our goal for this first Spidey bomb?
Let's go 50 for the first, 75 for the second, and 100 for the third. Then we'll see what happens from there.
All right. So we'll get those going. I'll throw in a home run bet as well. I got a couple of bets. But let's talk starting pitching. We'll sort of talk cash with Tim. I think the overwhelming majority of people on both FanDuel and DraftKings are probably going to be playing Jack Flaherty at Oakland today. Got traded to the Dodgers. Looks pretty good here today going up against Oakland. Been reasonably consistent. He is expensive, at least on FanDuel. Still priced under $10K on DraftKings. He should probably be slightly above that on this slate today. He's my number one. Would you agree with that, or are you looking at somebody else?
He's definitely my number one on both FanDuel and DraftKings. It's going to be interesting to see kind of how he reacts going to a much bigger market in Los Angeles. But I think this is a really great matchup for him to start off his career for the Dodgers. So I think he's in a really, really good spot. Yeah, the A's have some really, really strong power hitters, but they strike out so much, especially in the middle of that lineup. So I see no reason to get away from Flaherty, at least in cash games. Of course, you can get away from him in GPPs because he is going to be highly owned. But he is, I think, the clear top pitcher on the slate.
Yeah, I would agree with that completely. Anyone else? Let's say on DraftKings, you do need two starting pitchers. So let's talk about a few other players that might be in the mix there. You've got Bailey Ober against the White Sox. They're losing basically every game they've played in recent memory. I'm not sure if they won a couple of nights ago, but I think they were on some sort of historic losing streak. Always nice to be going up against them. And Ober does have the ability to post big games. You've got Hunter Green, who's coming into this game in immaculate form. I think he's got 2 earned runs over his past either 4 or 5 games, striking people out at home in Great American Small Park. Not the greatest spot, but San Francisco can be had for some strikeouts. And I think you've got a cheap pitcher, maybe a little bit more so on FanDuel, where he's 6,800. Grant Holmes is 7,700 on DraftKings, and Martin Perez is 6,200 going up against Colorado. Not the highest strikeout pitcher in Perez, but anytime you can match up against Colorado and you're a cheap pitcher and you're in San Diego, a really pitcher-friendly ballpark, that's pretty interesting. Are you spending or are you saving, Tim?
Yeah, I'm not going to get down to Perez or Holmes. I'm either going to go Green or Ober. I'm pretty much leaning on Ober, even though I just absolutely love the leash for Hunter Green. I think I think he has the best leash in all of baseball. We haven't projected for like 99 pitches. So it's just the ballpark that I can't stand. But I think you're choosing between Green and Ober. I know that Perez is projecting really well, and Derek Carty's the bat at 6,200. I'm fine with that in tournaments. I don't think I do that in cash games, though. I just think that I just prefer these guys in the mid-8s a lot more. So I think I'm going to go Over as my cash game SP2, but you could definitely go Hunter Green as well.
Yeah, I think it's between those two. I'm looking at Green. I just like the form Green's in. Recently, just lights out, not giving up any runs, going deep into games, everything you want from your fantasy pitcher, except the matchup not being as ideal as Ober. Ober's a fine play too. I think those are pretty much the clear. Tim and I are split. I don't think you're really wrong doing either one today on DraftKings. TJ, before we get to the Spidey bombs, real quick, who'd you rather play maybe for safety, cash, Ober or Green? Can you split the tie between me and Tim?
I would say Ober. I think Ober is the one you have to play in cash, and you're choosing between Flaherty or Green as your second pitcher. I think Ober is the one that needs to be in the lineup.
All right. Let's get some Spidey bombs, and then we'll talk some starting pitching for tournaments.
Got enough likes for the first 2, and we are only 20 likes away from the third one, so keep smashing the like button. You guys keep hitting it. I can come up with more Spidey bombs from Spidey here, so keep smashing that like button. First 2, Anthony Santander, because I'm going to keep picking him every day. The streak of 6 in a row broke last game, but he's probably going to come back with another one today. Second one, Bobby Witt Jr. going up against a reverse splitsy righty. I love it today. Bobby Witt Jr., Spidey bomb number 2.
All right. Santander, I got a 375 Fanatics MGM circa. I'll check Bobby Witt for you in just a second. I'll get to you after, get you those odds after TJ talks some starting pitching. So Flaherty, Ober, Green, give me your ownership. What are you doing at the top, TJ? And then let's go further down the line.
Ober is priority 1 by a lot. I have more than 60% to Ober today. Green and Flaherty, obviously priority 2 and 3 for me. I have about 30 to 31% of both of these guys. They're going to be my top 3 group of pitchers, but I'm also going to be messing around with the cheapies. Mitch Spence, Martin Perez, and Joey Cantillo, I'm assuming it probably is. I'm getting all 3 of those guys today in some capacity as SP2s. And then even on DraftKings, I'm playing Grant Holmes, even though he's $7,700. Not as cheap as on FanDuel, but only 10% ownership. I'm still playing him.
Yeah, let's talk about him and his pitch count. What's your expectations from him? Basically had the ceiling game his last time out, which is certainly, it bumped his price up on DraftKings a little bit. But the matchup's pretty ideal against Miami here. What's your expectation for him? Pitch count, overall output?
Probably 75-ish pitches, I would say 70 to 75, because he was a bullpen guy. I don't think he's going to be getting this massive bump to the next one. But if he does, great. Like if he happened to get 80 to 85 pitches, 7,700 and 10% ownership is pretty ridiculous for him. If he only gets 70, I'm still willing to take that shot at 10% ownership. So I think it's a pretty low risk, high reward considering how few people are playing him today.
All right. Sorry for not paying attention. I was looking up some odds of the Spidey bombs. What are you doing? So you mentioned the top 3 here. What about some of the mid tiers like Blanco, Miller, Tanner Houck? What are you doing with them?
Completely avoiding. It's Flaherty, Ober, Green, or it's Holmes and below. So Holmes, Spence, Perez, Cantillo.
All right. So you're pretty condensed in your pitching availability for tournaments today.
Yeah. Only 7 players in the pool.
All right. Tim, anything you would add from a tournament perspective there? If you had to expand it anymore, is there, a flyer you'd like to take tonight?
No, I kind of agree with TJ that I would be kind of keeping this a tight pitchers pool. Nobody like really, really cheap, except for, I guess, on FanDuel, I think you can play Grant Holmes in tournaments. I wouldn't do it in CAD, but like Brett and I were talking about pre-show, if you play Grant Holmes on FanDuel, you can pay up for like every single bat that you want. So I think that's kind of a fun way to play GPP, but not somebody I would necessarily touch in cash games.
All right. Before we get to offense and another more Spidey bombs, I got to tell you guys about RotoGrinders Premium. You can get ahead of the competition with RotoGrinders Premium. We've got an option for whatever level you're looking for. You can get a 6-month combo subscription at an exclusive price of $469.99. That saves you $250 instead of buying 6 individual months. If you don't like commitment, I do, right? I got the ring on. If you're not a fan of it, though, you can get a month of RotoGrinders Combo Premium for $120. And if you want to test it out for 3 days, it's $19.99. So make sure to check that out, RotoGrinders Premium. You also get the SimLabs, which I'll tell you about in a little bit. People need more Spidey bombs, TJ, though. We're over 100 likes. Let's throw a third one out there, and I'll throw mine in the ring here, too.
It's already there. Scrolling at the bottom of the screen, plus 475. Matt Olson, Spidey bomb number 3.
All right.
That was gonna be my tater.
Got you again, Tim.
You're going to have to come up with something new. I got a long shot. If you're on either, I think it's FanDuel or Fanatics, Stephen Kwan leading off for Cleveland. Not the greatest matchup against Eflin, but he's plus 1,500. And he just slaps these home runs out to right field out there in Cleveland. Let's see if he can get one out there tonight. Those odds a little long for a player who's shown a slight uptick in power. So I certainly like if you're looking for a long shot. I did a quarter unit on scores and odds with that one. I'm basically going to play Stephen Kwan as long as he's around 1,500 every single night from here on out for the rest of the season. So that's a long shot play for me. TJ, offense tournaments. What are we looking at tonight?
So team I'm getting to the most in tournaments is going to be Atlanta. They got the highest total. They're the top stack on the board. It's nice because I get to do the full spend up Atlanta stack playing some of these cheap pitchers alongside my Ober and my Green. Seattle, the Mets, the Reds, the Orioles, and the Guardians are my tier 2. So I'm getting the most Atlanta, and then tier 2 is Seattle, the Mets, Reds, Orioles, Guardians. I really love all of those teams today. Those would be the 6 teams I would be choosing between in a single entry. Those would probably be the 6 teams I'd be trying to get to if I was running a 3-entry max. Next group from there is just like, so I have in 150 lineups, I have exactly 7 stacks. So 4.67% of lineups in all these teams. The Giants, the Angels, the Padres, the Rockies, the Rangers, the Astros, the Twins, the Phillies, and Boston. So that's basically a tier 3 just all together for me. And then tier 2, once again, Seattle, the Mets, Cincinnati, Baltimore, and Cleveland. And then my top team is Atlanta.
All right, let's go position by position. Catcher, there are some reasonably priced catchers on FanDuel today. You're probably going to want to not use them, though, as a core play unless you're, of course, stacking. DraftKings, they force you to use one, Tim. Between spending up on a Flaherty and Ober and a Hunter Green right on pitching, and then trying to get some bigger bats at other positions, I'm finding myself sort of in like the mid to low tier at catcher today. A Tyler Stevenson, I don't know, maybe Hoppy. Probably I'd just go to Stevenson at 3,600. He looks reasonably good to me as your DraftKings sort of core play. You've got Connor Wong batting 5th. He's 3,700. Probably about the 2 guys I'm looking at.
Yeah, the guy that I have in right now is Travis d'Arnaud batting 6th at 3,700. I kind of like that spot better than the spot for Stevenson, but I certainly don't mind if people want to roster Stevenson. I don't hate it. I don't mind spending a little bit more money for O'Hoppy also. I think that's okay. Right now with d'Arnaud is going to be my cash game catcher, no question about it. So yeah, and then I think there are some interesting tournament plays at catcher. I think it's kind of a somewhat decent position tonight. The big dumper at 4,700. I think he's going to be he's always a good tournament play. He's going to be really, really low owned. And then I think, spending up to be really different, like Will Smith at 5% ownership in a GPP, I think is fine for like a one-off. So yeah, but Travis d'Arnaud is my cash game catcher.
Yeah, that 3,600 tier on DraftKings probably want one of those guys. Is basically a core. TJ, you spending up. Are you on the Smith? Are you on the big dumper? Are you in the mid tier? Are you taking anyone in particular? Or you're just rounding out stacks? What you're doing?
It's a really strong position today. Kind of in the mid tier. I really like Stevenson, d'Arnaud, O'Hoppy, and Wong. And then I am spending up to Will Smith, but the guy I'm getting to the most is Cal Raleigh. He's my highest owned catcher today. And then coming in number 2, my favorite punt is Bo Naylor, batting 8th for Cleveland. Guy with a ton of power. He should be in the mid 3Ks, not the mid 2Ks. So absolutely love Bo Naylor, either as part of a stack or if you need to punt a catcher today.
Tim, Ohtani at first base on DraftKings. I want to play him, but I mean, it's very tough to get the pitchers you want and him and a couple other things that you want today. I've sacrificed him from my cash team currently. Are you playing him? Would you try to get him? Is he a priority, or are you looking at something else?
I probably did the exact same thing you did pre-lock. I had him, and then I was like, do I have to have him? And I really want to play Matt Olson. So I was like, kind of back and forth, and I decided to take Ohtani out. That could end up biting me. It's certainly, if you have the money, he is the top overall hitter on the entire slate. He's 6,700. It's not a very That's not a very difficult matchup. I think the Dodgers are going to do quite well this evening. So I mean, yeah, if you have the money, by all means, go for it. But I decided to go. I decided to go with Matt Olson, and then I also was considering Pete Alonso too. And by the way, Pete Alonso plus 550 on BetMGM, plus 500 on DK. He's going to be my tater since TJ stole Olson from me.
Great
Right,
tater call, and also somebody I bet on today, so I love that.
I'll get my 37 cents bet in on MGM on that one. So I'll make sure to max out what I'm allowed to do over there on Mr. Pete Alonso. Yeah, I sort of am struggling to get Ohtani, basically even on FanDuel or DraftKings today for a cash team. I'm sort of, you've got Berger, who's really turned it on. I know we like the Atlanta pitcher today, but he had a really rough start to the season, did Berger. He's really turned around. I don't know if he was injured or, he's on the hot streak or it's just baseball averaging out. He's cheap on both sites. I think you can play him. Of course, Matt Olson is certainly in play. I think a little bit more attainable on FanDuel, but he is just 4,900 on DraftKings. You've got Alonso there as well. So a couple of ways to do it where you don't have to go all the way up for Ohtani. TJ, what are you doing with Ohtani on DraftKings, first base / outfield? What's your ownership on him? And then who else are you looking at?
He is my second highest owned hitter today at 18%, getting to a ton of Shohei Ohtani. Highest owned first baseman with Matt Olson, just slightly behind him at 15%. If you need to get cheaper, I absolutely love Nathaniel Lowe batting cleanup today for Texas, another guy who started slow and has been hitting the ball a lot better lately. Josh Naylor, Pete Alonso, Ryan Mountcastle, all strong options. Berger in France, Justin Turner if you need to save salary. I like Bryce Harper at low ownership for tournaments. And I also really like Michael Toglia at low ownership for tournaments. Another guy I think probably will hit a home run today.
All right. Before we get to second base, I need to tell you guys about SimLabs. I told you guys about Roto Grinders Premium. With that, you get access to SimLabs. There's a mobile app now. It's an expert DFS lineup generator tool from Roto Grinders and Fantasy Labs. In addition to the desktop tool on the web, you can now download SimLabs mobile app from your app store and use the power of DFS simulations in the palm of your hand, available to combo and single sports subs, or you can buy it a la carte in the App Store. Make sure to check it out today if you want to be a sim bro. All right, second base. Tim, what are you doing? I'll basically give you some of the questions I have on FanDuel, and you can tell me what you're doing. It's not the greatest position on FanDuel. So you've got, if you want to go against Blanco, you want to take a power hitter. That's basically where he struggles. You got Morel or Brandon Lau. They're both 3K. Would you have a choice between them? Would you go down to a Cronenworth, who's 2,800? What are you doing there? And then DraftKings, I don't really want to roster anybody over there, so we can talk about what we want to do there.
Yeah, drafting second base is really, really bad. FanDuel's, at least you have options that are quite good. I'd probably go with Brandon Lau, but I mean, you could definitely go Cronenworth or Morale quite easily. So, but I think Lau would be my favorite, batting second. He's only 3K. So he'd probably be my cash game second baseman, but there's definitely arguments to be had to go somewhere else on FanDuel. DraftKings cash second base, just, in general on this slate is really, really bad. I'm really considering just kind of punting with Gavin Lux and hoping that he gets some kind of production out of the is he batting third? I think we just got that lineup.
Yeah.
Okay. So if he's batting third, hopefully he's got some opportunities to produce fantasy points at, only 3.33 on DK. He's probably who I'm going to be rostering in cash, even though I don't really want to be.
Yeah, he's fine. You can punt. You can go all the way down too. You've got was it Brooks Baldwin? Not definitely just, if you're just looking for a player up towards the top of the order, the expectations from him would be extremely low. He's 2,500. But if you can get for an 800, get Lux towards the top of the Dodgers order, I agree. I would completely go towards that as well. TJ, a position on DraftKings for your 150 lineups that we don't really want to roster anybody. What have you landed on?
Whole bunch of guys only in stacks that I have, but the big three outside of stacks for me are going to be Jonathan India, Jorge Polanco, and Gavin Lux. Really the only three guys I would be choosing from.
All right, let's go to third base. Tim, what's that look like? We've got Austin Riley, someone I'm probably trying to play on both sites. He's reasonably priced. I don't see why he's not someone you should be targeting today.
Austin Riley is an absolutely fine play. I think I'm honestly going to punt it with Kobe Mayo, who's min price, batting sixth. And this is kind of the debate that I'm in with Ohtani. Like if I go Mayo, Ohtani versus another two guys, I think he's in a decent lineup spot and he's min price in a really good matchup. So I think I'm going to go Kobe Mayo, but obviously Jake Berger is a great play. Obviously Austin Riley is awesome as well. But I think I'm going to be punting it on FanDuel and DK.
Just to get the salary you want to try to get some of the other players that you might want. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mayo would be the first player that I'd be putting in cash games today. I think he's kind of the most important cash bet.
Just so cheap. You have someone, so you're going to overlook Riley's matchup. Just I think that looks really good, but Mayo also does reasonable lineup spot. Certainly can't go wrong with that one. What's your ownership on him? Min price on DraftKings. Are you surging him up the ownership board, CJ?
Yeah, I have about 20% of him. Riley's number 2, but Mayo is my highest owned guy here. Playing him in a sack or by himself, good with either one. Royce Lewis, Jose Ramirez, Berger, Machado. I'll be underweight on those guys though, but Mayo is my favorite here by a fairly wide margin.
All right, let's go to shortstop. Usually a position we want to spend up on. Is that what we're doing today, Tim? I think you can get away a little cheaper if you want to. I don't know. Outside of De La Cruz, I don't think anyone's in an amazing spot overall today. What are you doing?
Yeah, it's definitely like the studs are not, like in amazing spots, but I think I'm going Lindor because in cash anyway, because I at least want one or two Met players in cash games. So I think I'm going to go Lindor, but obviously going to Henderson or Ellie or even Corey Seager is completely fine anytime. And then your obvious punt would be Orlando Arcia at 2,900 for Atlanta. Not sure if I would want to do that in cash games because I think the opportunity cost is kind of big at shortstop.
Yeah, there's usually, I mean, even Gunnar, he hasn't hit a home run in a long time. It's lefty. He can get there. I do like the Lindor call. La Cruz, there's lots of ways he can get there. A couple other players, it's not stacked like it normally is with 7 or 8 top plays all in good spots. So it's a little bit more difficult to navigate. But I would like probably Ellie and then Lindor would be my 2 at the top, and I think Arcia, like you said, a reasonable fine play as a punt. TJ, are you spending? You going Arcia? Are you trying to do something in the mid tier? And interested to hear your take at shortstop.
Arcia comes in just behind Ellie De La Cruz for me. De La Cruz is number 1, but Arcia is probably actually my favorite and would be my main target if I was playing one lineup, just because 13-game hitting streak, 16 hits in his last 13 games, 4 home runs in his last 6 games. Guy is the absolute definition of hot right now. And so Arcia is somebody I'm trying to play a ton of, but I also love De La Cruz, Seager, Lindor, and Gunnar. That's about it at the shortstop position for me.
All right, let's go to the outfield. I guess we sort of have some more ways to play Ohtani if you're punting with a guy like Kobe Mayo. You can get to him a little bit easier if you use him. Tim, have you settled on Ohtani? Is he someone you're now attempting to prioritize because of Kobe Mayo? Or are you going to the Jordans, the Ozuna as your spend, or even like on DraftKings, the high 4K-ish tier to the mid to even the low 4K tier? Normally that's no man's land. I think it's reasonably strong today.
Yeah, so I'm stacking Atlanta in my single entry team, but in my cash game team, I think I'm going to go Ohtani and Mayo just because it's really easy to do that. So I think in cash I'm going to go with Ohtani, but in tournaments I'm going Ozuna as my top Atlanta bat. Jorge Soler also is a very, very strong play, only 4,500. love Teoscar Hernandez tonight. He's got 2 tags in lineup HQ right now. I think this is fantastic play. I don't think the Dodgers are going to get much ownership, so I think he's going to be a really, really sneaky, like high upside play. Profar has been getting a lot of attention lately. I think he's too expensive, to be honest with you. I would kind of stick with the guys, that I already mentioned near that same price point. And then there isn't really like a lot of like super cheap outfielders that I want to spend down on. So that's kind of one of the reasons why I like punting with Mayo, because like the punt outfielders, for me at least, I don't think are that great.
Yeah, your punt outfielder, I mean, anyone really below 3K, nothing looks interesting on draft.
Right. That's kind of like that's how I'm seeing it also. So it's like
my fourth highest owned player is one of those.
So well, let's get it out here. Who you looking at here?
Who is this?
Robles.
He's 3,400. That's not.
Oh, okay. Never mind. My bad.
I'm staring at Robles on my DraftKings.
I was like, I love Robles. What are you guys talking about? But he was like 2,800 a couple days ago. He's above there now. You're absolutely right.
I'm staring at him as basically I'm trying to toggle things around. Like I don't want him, but he's fitting in as like the last cheap outfield. Like he's the lowest outfielder I would really feel comfortable with today at the top of the lineup. And he's having he's having a good couple of games here. So he's your second highest. Who's your highest?
No, he's fourth.
Fourth. All right. Who's
behind? At the top? Shohei's at the top. Anthony Santander, Spidey bum number 2. Kyle Schwarber, another guy who's going to hit a bum today, low ownership, coming in at number 3. Funny thing on my site today, they have these screw ups sometimes where I was looking at the odds for Kyle Schwarber to hit a home run. They were plus 280. But then Kyle Schwarber's odds to have 4 or more bases were plus 325. And so I just hammered the plus 4 or more bases on Kyle Schwarber. You get a couple extra outs and the odds were better. So they had a mess up there and I took advantage of it. And then it's Robles, Byron Buxton, Brandon Marsh, Randy Arozarena, Yordan Alvarez, Jorge Soler, and I'm getting some Quan, some Steer. And Brenton Doyle is a one-off I like as well at low ownership, or even a Doyle Toglia mini stack is something I really like today.
It appears we've gone through these. Normally we have about 10 minutes. We have about 15. So if you guys have any questions, I wanted to get, I'm trying to see, I was on the Pirates. So the Pirates have already started. I had the first 5 innings in that one, but you could probably bet it. But they just blanked Arizona in the first half. So the odds are probably a little bit too high if you were going to bet that. The Stephen Kwan home run plus 1,500 on Fanatics. You've got the Spidey bombs. Do you have any other Spidey bombs you want to throw up, TJ, or are we good for the day?
No, I'm good. But I mean, if we hit 150 likes, anything can happen.
All right. So we want to hit that like button if you're watching. Let's circle back because we have so much time. Tim, I'm going to throw it to you from cash. TJ, I'll go to you after. Let's talk starting pitching for anyone who's coming late. What are we doing today, Tim?
Yeah, so you're definitely pitching Jack Flaherty in cash games. And then I think it's really one of 2 other options for your SP2. It's either Hunter Green or Bailey Over. I think in GPPs, you can go down to Martin Perez. You can go down to Grant Holmes. But that would be just about it for me in terms of my pitching pool. All
right. And then TJ, in tournaments, you're very concentrated. Maybe give me the rundown of the pitchers and maybe give me the order they're in too of who you're using. And then also maybe a couple of reasons of why you're excluding some of those other pitchers towards the top.
Just because none of them are in anywhere close to as good of spots as Ober, Green, or Flaherty. So Ober, Green, and Flaherty, I'm getting to a lot of. Ober is tier 1 by a lot. I have more than 60% Bailey Ober today. I think he is the top play by a very wide margin at pitcher on DraftKings, where you got that big price difference between him and Flaherty. Green and Flaherty come in number 2 for me. I got over 30% of both of them. And then it's just the cheapies I'm taking shots on. So I got Grant Holmes at 7,700. I got Joey Cantillo at 5,800, Martin Perez, and Mitch Spence in my lineup as well. Cantillo and Spence basically just because they're both projected for 1% ownership.
All right. So if you guys have any questions, YouTube chat, we've got the, if you're on Discord, we have the live stream chat. Looks like the live stream chat had some action. We're going to circle back and get all of those right now. From the start of the show, FanDuel single entry. Tim, I'll throw this to you. You dabble in these streets probably more than any of us. Single entry pitcher, single entry stack. Us from Jay looking for some FanDuel advice.
Yeah, so I think it's I would stick with Flaherty, and then I don't know, the Braves are going to be very, very popular. I'm pretty sure. So probably don't want to stack Atlanta in single entry. I do some Mets.
Yeah, Mets are definitely. I know you were on Alonso. I think Nimmo's very interesting. TJ, I think you were on Lindor too. So I could definitely get behind the Mets there.
I like Lindor quite a bit.
Yeah. New Generation wanted to know Crochet projected, right? He's had this great season, but we're basically expecting him to sort of have a leash on him much lower than he had in terms of pitch count for the rest of the season. We're all just sort of glossing over him. TJ, is that your sort of thought on him right now?
Yeah, no Crochet with the limited count in a tough matchup.
All right. Crazy wants to know, are you in on the Orioles, and are they above the Twins? If we only get Crochet for, let's say, 4 innings and that White Sox bullpen comes in, I mean, that sounds very interesting. What would we do between those two teams, maybe so for a tournament tonight, TJ?
Orioles still above the Twins. I have no problem with stacking them, but Orioles above Twins.
All right. Astros, I could certainly play the top of the Astros lineup. Is it Littell can certainly get hit around, has a little bit of power problems. I think the Astros certainly a very fine stack tonight. And then our last question, Ober or Crochet FanDuel tournament. And Crochet is basically, I don't think I would even consider paying his price on any site today, right? TJ, like it's just until he's what? 7K on DraftKings, 8K on FanDuel, unless we see him get ramped up to 6-7 innings again. I mean, he really doesn't exist for me as a fantasy pitcher right now, right?
No, if we're getting more than 80 pitches from Crochet, then I'm back in. I don't need anything crazy. But at this point, I think he's just going to be kind of going down and down more and more as the season goes on.
Yeah, and you had Ober as your top play, so that's a very easy pick for you today. Jay wants to know, Tim, I'll throw this to you. FanDuel, single entry, Lux or McNeil? We like Lux. You like him on DraftKings. McNeil has turned around his season over the past maybe month or so. What are we doing there?
I would hope that you would find some kind of correlation in this situation. So if you're stacking Mets, obviously go McNeil. And if you're stacking Dodgers, go Lux. If they're just one-offs, I guess it's Lux, but I'm hoping that you just get some correlation out of that position.
TJ, Mount Red Sox wanted to know, he missed starting pitching. Who would you pair with Flaherty for your SP2? I think is your SP1 straight up over Flaherty tonight, TJ?
Yeah, by a lot.
All right, so TJ would take is Ober Flaherty. And that Ober Flaherty and Flaherty Green, I think, are going to be the overwhelming 2 main options tonight. What would you be doing? I don't know. Are you fine with any of those pairings?
Yeah, as long as it has Ober in there, I'm fine with it.
All right.
But I'm totally cool with going Green over Flaherty. Flaherty would be my first choice, but if I just like my lineup way better with Green over Flaherty, I'm fine with that.
All right. So that was the live stream chat on Discord. You guys can keep posting in there. I'll get back to it. I'm going to go to YouTube over on the other screen. We've got DraftKings Cash. Tim, I'm going to throw this to you. First base, 4,400 or less. Mr. Matt Smith is looking for someone he can play. What do we got for him?
Is it 4,400?
That is the price.
I would say it would be Cronenworth.
Yeah, I would play Cronenworth or go basically to a burger at 3,700 probably for me would probably be the play, but Cronenworth at 4,400 right on the dot would certainly be fine.
Just because you guys are selling them short, Ryan Mountcastle is definitely hitting a home run tonight.
All right, you got to throw that in for a Spidey bomb. Let me find. I'm not selling Mountcastle short at all.
You're selling them short. You guys hate Mountcastle. You said it. He's your least favorite player on the slate.
What do we got? We got a plus 575. I would expect him to have a little bit higher odds than that for a home run, but 575, that does it for you, TJ?
I didn't bet on it. I'm just saying it's going to happen now.
Yeah, all right. Well, if it's going to happen, I'm counting that as a play there. So 575, it looks like I can get for that one. All right, YouTube, a couple other questions. Let's see. A large FanDuel tournament. So let's pretend, TJ, I think are you doing FanDuel GBP or more? You're just on DraftKings for the 150 tonight, correct? But let's pretend you're on FanDuel tonight in a large field. Favorite starting pitcher, and then your favorite team you would try to play.
Holmes and Atlanta.
Yeah, that's I think Holmes is a very nice FanDuel play today. It lets you get a lot of bats. I think I might even would attempt that instead of going with some of the top names on there. Romy at second on DraftKings. Romy Gonzalez. This is directed at you, Tim. Over Lux. Trying to get different if we think Lux is going to be popular.
The problem with Romy is that he's got like a 50% pitch hit risk, so I'm a little bit concerned about that. I get the idea of it. I don't really love it though.
Yeah, I think I'd stick with Lux in that particular equation.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can get a couple more. Angels versus lefties. Anyone on the Angels bats tonight?
Yeah, I like them. I like the Angels quite a bit, and the stack just got nicer too because you got Neto batting second.
TJ, what do you think of the Angels tonight against Peterson?
Do you mean Tim?
Yes.
I don't hate it. I was going to ask TJ if he had any Peterson. Do you have any? Because we've had a few comments in chat about Peterson tonight for tournaments.
No Peterson for me. This Angels lineup is pretty good against lefties. And I just don't think the ceiling is as high as it should be for that price tag.
All right, Miami and Colorado combo them stack on DraftKings. Right? Is this a joke? These are the two teams nobody wants to stack. Miami's been a little pesky. TJ, from a large field tournament, do you have any Miami? Do you have any Colorado?
I have a decent amount of Colorado, but the only Miami I have is Berger.
Here's one. The Padres, right? The gutless rankings team lead. Anyone playing them against what could be the worst pitcher and worst bullpen on the slate today? I definitely like, Tim and I were just talking about Cronenworth a little bit. He mentioned Profar, maybe not too high on him overall, mainly because of the price. Tim, I've got it pulled up in Plate IQ. It looks reasonably good. Rocky starter, Tanner Gordon, you mix in the bullpen. Where would they rank for you in terms of wanting to stack tonight at home?
For me, they would be like a 3-man stack. I don't want to full 5-man them. I guess my favorite would be that 3-4-5 spot, Cronenworth, Machado, Bogarts. Actually, I don't know. I don't mind Jackson Merrill either. So Merrill would probably be on that list. So scratch Bogarts and go Cronenworth, Machado, and Merrill would be my favorite 3.
Yeah, how much money do they have to pay Bogarts for? It's like all of eternity out there. Just really good for him, but not really coming through on that contract out in San Diego. TJ, you are the 150 maxer tonight. Where are the Padres rank for you?
Yeah, they're in that tier 3 for me. I like them as a stack. Don't love them. I like Atlanta, Cincinnati, Mets, Orioles, Mariners, Guardians better, but they come in probably right behind them.
All right, we've got hold on, I got too many screens going on here. DraftKings second base. This is from Prem Mandava. Second base tournament, Polanco or Jackson Holiday down in the 9-hole today. TJ, I'll start with you on that one.
Polanco.
Yeah, Polanco up in the lineup. Holiday towards the bottom. Probably not going to play him today. I would go with Polanco as well. And what was it? Polanco chalk night? Was this last week where he had the 2 home runs on the weekend? I think so, right? That was last Saturday when it was Polanco. I know I had a really good. Yeah, that was last Saturday where Polanco had the 2 home runs, I believe. So he's not chalk tonight. But he had 2 home runs last Saturday. Maybe he can do it again for those people who do you guys see on Twitter? There's the home runs by day people is starting to gain steam. Has anyone else come across this? Like by day of the week, which players? Not something that factors into my home run analysis. Has it come across?
I haven't seen it yet. I have not seen it.
TJ, have you come across those people yet?
Of what? Sorry.
yeah, it was so preposterous. TJ just complete the people who like Aaron Judge hits 17 home runs on a Sunday, right?
Oh yeah, I did come across that on my Twitter feed. Quite ridiculous. Yes.
Yeah. One of the I would have to consult Derek Carty and the bat for that.
It's always so annoying. You know, like that's what social media and all like YouTube and even just like the Google algorithm has become, is just like make a hot take and it gets you better clicks than, or just like say something wild and it gets you way more clicks and following than good content, good analysis. You'll see somebody with, I mean, more often than not when you see these, it's because they purchase their Twitter followers, but you see somebody with 50,000 Twitter followers and it's like, here's why I'm doing this. This person just had a baby, and when he had his first 2 children, he hit 2 home runs and he came back. So I'm locking it in today.
If you take Narrative Street away, Alan is going to find you, and he will do bad things to you if you take the Narrative Street away from our sports.
Every second Thursday in March, this guy has had 500 on base percentage.
All right. There's a 3,400 or less outfielder for Mr. Irrelevant. I see you answered this, but it's definitely for both me and TJ is Victor Robles at 3,400 on the nose. Tim, what's your take on Robles? That's as low as I'm willing to go in the outfield. Do you think, I mean, I don't think he's as good as he has been recently, but I mean, he's getting on base. Then he's stealing. He's had a little bit of pop. I mean, he's doing everything right now at the top of order for Seattle.
Yeah, there really are no punt outfielders that I like, outside of guys in your stack. So it really would just be, Jimenez or Robles for me. So yeah, it's really close between those two.
All right, 2 more quick questions. These are back to the live stream. I've circled back. NBA DFS wants to know Jordan or Schwarbs for FanDuel cash. That is definitely a Jordan for me, Tim.
Yeah, I'd go Jordan.
All right, new generation Ober or Green straight up. Tim, I think you were on Ober. I was on Green. I've switched to Ober, and TJ's number 1 pitcher of the night is Bailey Ober. That's a sweep for us. We're all taking Ober over Green straight up.
I am, yeah.
Oh, all right. So that's where we're at on that one. FanDuel single entry. Oh, sorry, Jay Sams. Let's see. Darnold and Peralta or Luis Arez and Ahmad Rosario both in stacks. I mean, that's easily number 1 for me. Luis Arez and Rosario, just those are not tournament winning, even in single entry type plays for me tonight.
I'd never play Arias in anything.
Yeah, I never do it either. Polanco or Lux? Cash tonight, Tim? Lux?
I think it's Lux.
All right, yeah, I've gone with Lux too. All right, I think we've got, let's see. Oh, Jordan or Azuna DraftKings cash. That's the question for sure. That one's very tough. I think the answer is yes to either one of them. I don't think either. Those are definitely the 2. If you're not going to Ohtani, those are the 2 you're choosing between. I don't have a take between that. I think they're pretty much equal tonight, Tim. Would you have a preference?
Yeah, so I mean, overall, I'm higher on Atlanta than I am Houston, so I would have to lean Ozuna just because of that, but they're both great.
TJ, do you have a preference between those 2 tonight?
Same as Tim.
All right. All right, we've hit lineup lock. I think that's going to be doing it for tonight. Good luck on all of the Spidey bombs. They are scrolling at, well, they were scrolling at the bottom of the screen. Now they're back. Thanks everybody for watching. Hopefully your games do good. Tune into Crunch Time tomorrow for Sunday. I won't be here, but other people will be here. TJ, Tim, always great doing the show with you. I'm Britt. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we out, Jeff.